Yo, what's up everybody? Today I'm going to be talking about how to find out what is the best squat for you. There's many variations of squatting. There's back squats, there's front squats, there's Zercher squats, there's goblet squats. With all these squat variations, it's hard to find out which one is the best for you. And the best squat for you is going to be the one that you can do the best, with the best movement efficiency, that's going to help you keep consistent with a program so that you can get the best results possible. If we look at our back squats versus front squats, or any kind of squat where we're holding the bar in front, that's got an anterior loaded squat, you'll notice that if the bar is in front of me, it's easier to keep an upright position, so it's easier to get deep hip flexion, which means my hips are going below my knee crease, which is the ideal position for a deep squat. The reason why we need to go full range of motion in a squat, because it's important to achieve deep hip flexion, especially if you're a combat athlete. That is very crucial, because that is where you're going to get your best bang for buck and increase your mobility and flexibility, especially in a loaded position. So if we look at back squats versus front squats or any anterior loaded squats, the back squat is a fantastic exercise. If you're a barbell athlete, it is one of the exercises that will allow you to lift the heaviest weight possible if you're very good at back squatting. A lot of people run into the problem, whereas they forget that these movements are skills. The back squat is a hard exercise to achieve. It is a hard movement. You need to have good hip flexibility, good ankle flexibility, good shoulder flexibility, and good understanding and the coordination of how a back squat works. Pulling your shoulders down and back, making sure you have a nice strong core, pulling rib cage down, achieving a deep hip flex position. Achieve a deep hip flex position. It is a hard movement to achieve. Now, for a lot of people, especially for people who join strength programs, the programmer may have back squats or front squats. Both are great options. However, I think there's also some room for some other anterior loaded squats, which are going to be more beneficial and set an easier bar for entry for athletes. So if we look at our front squat, that's a hard movement to achieve as well. If you don't have good shoulder mobility or wrist mobility, it's really hard to achieve that front rack position, which is why straps are a great option. Using straps to help you achieve that upright position. Again, the front squat is the harder variation of squatting. For combat athletes, by all means, it's a great exercise. However, I think one of the best options for combat athletes, if you can't achieve a perfect position on the back squat, the Zercher squat is the next best fit for you. The reason why, it's loaded in front. You can literally just jump into the bar. Like, it's literally this easy. You can just jump into the bar, get the crook of the bicep onto the bar, step back. You can start with a slightly rounded back, or you can start with a chest up tall. Gonna get a bit of external rotation on the arms. I just squat. Look how easy my hips come below my knee crease, and I push the floor away. Again, squat down, push the floor away. Maybe uncomfortable to start with on the elbows. It's gonna get better. You just need to, like, over a period of a week, it's just gonna feel feel more comfortable. But you can just see that is a much easier squat for me to achieve. If you struggle with the back squat and you don't have access to a coach, or you don't have the time to learn the movement efficiency or the intricate details of becoming a better back squatter, just do a Zercher squat or do a heels elevated goblet squat with heavier weights. I always recommend the Zercher squat because we can load more plates on and it's easier to manage progressive overload. So, not that there's anything wrong with the back squat, it's just a harder skill to learn, and it just requires a little bit more mobility in the ankles and the hips than an anterior loaded squat would. The anterior loaded squat helps you keeps you in a more upright position, which allows you to get deep hip flexion much easier. So if you've just joined the program and there's back squats or a front loaded squat on that program, if you're familiar with back squats or you know how to back squat well, by all means, that could be a great option. But again, you need to consider that if you do a lot of jiu-jitsu or a lot of combat sports, when we load heavy bars on our backs, we create downwards pressure on the spine, which causes compression of which causes our spine to compress. It's not a bad thing, but it just means that if we do a lot of jiu-jitsu and a lot of combat sports, that can be quite tough on the body. If we choose an anterior loaded squat, which doesn't beat you up as much on the axle loading, there's often a much better variation for you to achieve the deep hip flexion, less axle loading, and it's going to beat you up less than doing heavy back squats.